panicking over Prince William's latest royal order. There's no way going back for them. What are they going to do? Are they going to learn a new trade? What are they going to do? Meghan can't go back to yachting. And I'm not saying that he's horrible, because he's certainly not. He's actually a very kind and caring person, and staff love working for him, Link, and are loyal to him. Like he has all of his former staff members. The Sun newspaper are reporting that the king may consider stripping the Sussexes of their royal titles. Is this a worthy sanction after these unfounded allegations about the king and the Princess of Wales emerged this week? Meghan thought she walked away from the crown. She didn't realize the crown could walk away from her. Dot and William doesn't want them back. Nobody wants them back, in spite of all the PR spin that Charles is putting out there through the mainstream media. And I want to start this by telling you that people wrote to Parliament about Harry and Meghan. Let's not pretend the couple tiptoed out of the monarchy. They scorched the earth on their way out. Meghan labeled the family cold and inhospitable. Harry accused the institution of racism, and both of them treated royal secrets like currency to sell books and stream shows. They let Netflix reenact private family moments with the subtlety of a soap opera. They let Hollywood paint William as a screaming villain. And every time things quieted down, another interview, another documentary, another conveniently timed revelation landed like a grenade. When Prince William becomes king, and he's already planning this out, and it's really not so much that he said they are not going to have roles. He's just not mentioning them at all. There's just a moratorium on them. Tell me what you think is going to happen when Prince William ascends and takes the throne. For years, the palace absorbed it all, keeping that strange royal vow of silence intact. But when Queen Elizabeth passed, that silence changed shape. Charles inherited not just the crown, but the mess. William, no longer the peace-seeking brother, stepped into a harder, colder version of himself. And that quiet palace philosophy, never complain, never explain, no longer fit the moment. At his coronation, that is extraordinary. That shows you how far things have fallen. I don't think there is a way back. I really don't. I guess you never know. You never know what's going to happen. So, now the monarchy is responding in the only language it knows won't backfire. Paperwork. Titles, succession protocols. The one arena Meghan cannot spin. Shape or soften. Gossip inside the palace says this isn't revenge. It's restraint. The polished version of payback. The royal kind. To remove the Duke title from Prince Harry. They had a formal petition. Anyone watching? Prince William, over the past 2 years, has noticed the shift. The warmth is still there for the public, but behind palace gates. Insiders describe a man who has turned almost surgical in his decision-making. He's measured, quiet, and so focused it unsettles people who used to know him. One aide whispered that he's become the type of leader who will do what must be done, even if it stings. And that alone says everything about where Harry and Meghan now stand. And the one for him. Link, that was so personal, was Catherine. It was like, do not come for my wife. This is not the William who once hoped Meghan might be a refreshing addition. This isn't the brother who believed the Fab Four could actually exist. Those early days of optimism feel like a lifetime ago, because William watched everything unravel in real time. The Oprah fallout, the racism allegations, the claims about Kate making Meghan cry. The book that dragged his wife, father, and institution through the mud. And then came the Netflix series that took private family moments and turned them into melodrama, and they responded that Parliament has nothing to do with royal titles, styles, honors, and dignity. He didn't explode. He didn't play the PR game. He simply changed. He learned the rule every future king eventually learns. Protect the institution even if it hurts. And now he's enforcing that rule with a kind of quiet ruthlessness that even palace staff didn't expect. He came for Catherine, and so there's no going back. William is a very strong-minded guy. He's not someone you want to mess with. He's not someone you want to cross. Sources say he sees the monarchy as a body-fighting infection. something that must be cut away before the rot spreads. And unfortunately for Meghan and Harry, the royal surgeons seem to have placed Montecito on the operating table. This is in writing from Parliament. This is in response to the cries and demands from people to remove and strip those titles. Inside Buckingham Palace, there is a phrase floating through the halls, softly spoken, almost poetic in its cruelty. The sun is setting over Montecito, and it isn't rising again. At first it sounded like another cryptic royal quip, the kind staff whisper out of habit. But the more you listen to insiders, the more you realize they mean it permanently. The mood is that reconciliation is no longer a realistic dream. It's a story the public clings to, not one the royal family plans for. You know, like he has all of his former staff members still advising him, still in the WhatsApp. They respect this guy, but you also don't want to cross him. You know, he can be very tough, very fiery. In their view, Harry and Meghan didn't simply distance themselves. They detonated something. Every interview, every leak, every glossy production added another crack. And while the world watched, the palace was quietly taking notes, adjusting priorities, redirecting energy toward the heirs who actually want to be part of the system. Saying that the royal family, that she's still haunted by royal family's insistence. Her first child underwent the focus now is William, Kate, and their children. The future Charles and the Wales grandchildren represent. The institution is tightening, not expanding. And there is simply no space left for a California branch that operates more like a brand than a family extension. Senior aides are blunt about it. If Meghan wanted her children to be part of the royal world, she should have allowed them to be part of the royal world. The thing that's been most astonishing for me over the past couple of weeks is that Prince Harry is so deluded that he genuinely believes that he can raise his two children, Archie and Lily. In the United States, the royals believe Meghan built a life where royal titles are accessories, not responsibilities. And Charles, ever the traditionalist, has stopped pretending otherwise. His latest move isn't a shock decision. It's the final note of a song that has been playing quietly for years. I don't think that they wanted that. The reason why they were demanding that was because they wanted to see if indeed she was pregnant. Behind the scenes, the real storm haunting Meghan isn't royal protocol, it's her bank account. People close to the Sussex circle quietly admit she's been carrying a financial anxiety she refuses to show on camera. The glossy PR smile hides it well, but the numbers don't lie. The Netflix era that once seemed like a golden escape is sputtering. The Spotify deal didn't just fade, it crashed so loudly. INDUSTRY people are still joking about the podcaster who forgot to podcast. Archetypes vanished without a trace. The lifestyle brand is still wandering around the marketplace with no identity and no momentum. It doesn't bode well. This woman is never going to end. I mean, she's been gone for what, 5 years from the royal family? And she's still the only thing she has to talk about is the royal family. And without a major income stream, Montecito suddenly feels less like a palace and more like a very expensive countdown clock. Meghan built her entire post-royal image on the glamour of being adjacent to the monarchy. Titles, prestige, lineage, all the shiny bits that make Americans swoon. Strip that away and what's left? A former actress with no current acting career, a duchess who doesn't want the obligations, a brand builder who hasn't built anything that sticks. Actually, sort of used them as a pawn, so that poor King Charles, who was suffering from this terrible, incurable cancer. That's why Charles's move landed like a punch. It wasn't just a royal statement. It threatened her market value. Without royal status propping everything up, the Sussex brand loses its sparkle. And Meghan knows Hollywood is ruthless. When the glow fades, they don't ease you out. They pretend they'd never saved your number. She has no identity on her own. And thankfully, William is going to end all of that. No amount of articles. Oh, when I was 11 years old. Meghan doesn't even get her own timeline correctly because the commercial was when she was 12 years old. Meghan's biggest challenge these days isn't the palace. It's not knowing what she's supposed to be anymore. Hollywood doesn't know how to categorize her, and honestly, neither does she. The actress label feels outdated. The Duchess title feels awkward every time she uses it outside the UK. The podcast chapter died before it learned how to walk. The wellness empire hasn't found its audience. And then the internet delivered the unkindest twist. They christened her the Jamfluencer after that jar of jam with the price tag nobody could explain. She's still clinging, repeating dumb stories that we know are lies. And now she won't let go. She won't let go of the brief time, because she was there for less than 2 years. And every time an assistant announces her as the Duchess of Sussex before a tiny rout meeting with 3 people, the eye roll heard across the internet grows louder. The title she once saw as her armor has become a punchline. While the palace was polishing their press releases, Meghan was doing what she always does when she feels backed into a corner, calling her lawyers quietly, strategically, on both sides of the Atlantic. The question she asked them was simple, but loaded with nuclear-level implications. Can they legally remove my children from the line of succession? The legal answer? Complicated. Emotionally catastrophic. This is, after all, a constitutional monarchy, and King Charles III knows very well what happened to King Charles I and other monarchs in his. Succession law is tied to the 1701 Act of Settlement, one of Britain's constitutional relics, a document treated with more reverence than crown jewels. To challenge it is not like challenging a policy. It's like trying to challenge gravity. But the palace did introduce new rules and interpretations. And that tiny gray area gave Meghan just enough oxygen to believe she might have a case. But winning against the crown, against centuries of precedent, against a system built on tradition, not negotiation. Her lawyers didn't say impossible, but they came close. So this is shocking because apparently Harry and Meghan are panicking, and Meghan is okay. Meghan is trying to trademark. Still, insiders say Meghan is preparing anyway. Not because she thinks she'll win, but because she refuses to sit quietly while the monarchy paints her into a corner. She feels targeted. She feels singled out. She feels humiliated in a way she hasn't felt since the early tabloid wars. Changed her last name to Duchess of Sussex. Not as a title, but as a last name. Which is why she goes by Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Because she thinks in the event that William now, while Meghan was assembling her legal Avengers, the palace made a move. So deceptively polite that most people didn't grasp the danger immediately. They launched a clarity review. The term sounds harmless, almost boring, something you'd hear during a corporate meeting about spreadsheets. But inside Buckingham Palace, that phrase is a quiet thunderclap for Meghan. And I do not use that word lightly. You know, that's a big word to use. But his hatred for Meghan is overwhelming. A clarity review means one thing. The monarchy wants receipts. The review is being handled by constitutional historians, legal scholars, protocol experts, and people who only get summoned when something is either historically unprecedented or severely disputed. These are not gossiping courtiers or political aides. These are the archivists of truth, and their job is to go back, way back, and evaluate everything. Complete disgust at his own brother is actually something that probably eats away at him even more. Now, I do agree with the reporting that says he talks a lot less about this now because, if you know what it's like, link time is a healer for everything. Like, of course, you never get over something like losing your brother. They are combing through birth records, medical confirmations, timing of announcements, documentation of procedures, royal protocol compliance, eligibility requirements, the exact areas Meghan has always kept locked behind reinforced walls, the things she has never allowed to be dissected publicly, the subjects that spark the fiercest speculation. This isn't a personal attack. It's something worse. It's administrative scrutiny. Cold, clinical, emotionless. Bureaucracy doesn't yell. It doesn't insult. It just flips through documents and highlights inconsistencies. And once the palace asks questions, others follow. Meghan isn't facing a feud anymore. She's facing institutional examination.